Yeah. So this story is older than the original Raid.
Yeah. So what happened was we made a film back in 2008 called Berandal. That was our first movie we tried to make. And then straight after that, I wanted to do a movie that was like a standalone film that was called the Berandal. It was just called Berandal back then. And in that film, basically, it was going to be about an ordinary guy who went into prison, befriended the son of a mob boss, and then found himself, part of this, as an enforcer in this gang during an all-out gang war. And that was basically it. That was like the standalone film. But then we tried for 2 years to get the budget for it. We knew it was going to cost more because we wanted to do bigger things with the action sequences. But after 2 years of trying, we couldn't get the funding in. So then we ended up going off and doing the Raid 1. And when we did the Raid 1, as I was prepping it, as I was designing it, I started to think the problem I had with Berandal was always the motivational one in the main character. Like, why would he stay with these guys when they're going through all this chaos and stuff? And so the one thing that kind of tipped it over for me then was this idea of, well, what if we make this a continuation of the character from Raid 1? What if we make this an undercover cop story where he's forced to be there and he's forced to stay within that world? And that seemed to fix all the little, glitches in that original script then. So it clicked for me. Oh. So it was kind of reverse engineering in a way, where after the Raid 1 was finished, we'd shot it and then put it out there and played it Toronto. I jumped right back into the jumped back into the Berandal script that time and started retrofitting it to become the Raid 2, and then did about 30-40% rewrite on it.
Wow. And now the novelty's gone after the Raid 1. I mean, it kind of hit everybody in the face.
Gone, yeah.
The novelty's gone. You kind of outdid yourself here. But what were the challenges in not retreading the places you've gone in the previous film, both for the choreography, the acting, and the writing?
It's interesting because I guess on choreography level, we'd already designed it, right? Because we started working on the choreography back in 2009. So we did 80% of the choreography for the Raid 2 before we'd even done the choreography for the Raid 1.
Interesting.
So it was this weird thing whereby finding this new style for what was Berandal at that time kind of informed how we would make the Raid 1. So they have this similarities there. They have these little moments, the sort of the kill moments, these punchline moments, which are kind of similar. But it's because one informed the other, but it just happened to be that the second one came first. So it's really weird sort of layout in terms of the chronology of how things came to be, but that's kind of where it went. In terms of not wanting to retread, at the end of that Raid 1, knowing that I had this other script which was going to be more sprawling and more bigger scale, it meant that I could start to sow the seeds in towards the end of the film. So it was okay, well, I'm going to mention these two names now, Reza and Bangun, and Reza and Bunawar at the end of the Raid 1. And it was that idea of okay, well, people who are watching the Raid 1 are going to think well, who the fuck are these people? Why are we talking about them? Right at the end of the movie. But it was always my goal as this thing of, okay, well, these two guys, they're going to play a prominent part in the second one. They're going to shape certain things about the second one. And so that was
that's kind of great that you had those in mind as you were making the first. That's incredible. So I wanted to ask both of you, does the choreography inform the set design, or is it the other way around?
Basically, when we're doing the choreography design, we're in a blank canvas space. We're just we're in an office room with a bunch of crash mats and beige walls. And basically what happens is we can start to kind of lay out certain things. So if there's a corridor space, we'll decide, okay, well, it's going to be 2 meters wide. So then we just use 2 meter crash mats, and then we create the space and we design the choreography in there. But there'll be certain times where we've come up with the specific stuff, like the warehouse.
The warehouse, and then when the match 2 meters, look like a corridor.
Mm-hmm.
We make it.
We always get these little specific things which we really want for the choreography, but they might not exist on the real location. We might not have even got the location yet. And then suddenly we're telling our art guy, oh, we need a metal girder here, and there's no metal girder there at all. And then he's okay, well, what are we gonna do? I was well, we need to have something there. Let's figure something out. So then we end up building a staircase and a walkway and then another sub room just so we have that metal girder there. So the only thing we need is just that. But then we end up having to build this and this structure and this walkway just so that we can keep doing our choreography, which just totally not the way it's supposed to be done. We're just terribly selfish when we design it. We're like, okay, this is the choreography, it's got to be this, it's got to be this. So we do, sometimes it's a struggle for either the art department to be able to put things in there that don't exist yet, or for a locations guy to find something that just fits perfectly with what we want to do. But there are a few moments where we adapt to the location as well.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Prakoso nightclub, yeah.
We don't know yet about the location, about the situation location. But you already like said like making the choreography only the process, but for me like I don't know yet about the situation location.
Yeah, we don't know what it looks like at all.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And when we shoot like the nightclub scene for Prakoso, yeah,
Also.
like because we looked at a bunch of different clubs. We had a bunch of we had like one scene laid out entirely, but that wasn't with like in Horizon, the nightclub we used. They had like these multi sort of like tier, like sort of like
cascading,
like cascading levels of it, and so we got to that location and suddenly we're like, well, let's use it then. In my head it'll completely different, and then we get there and then we see a location and it works really well, and then we start thinking, okay, well, we can add an extra stunt here, so we can add a guy getting thrown off the balcony and hitting the table down, and that will help sometimes. Like, so more often than not we do force locations to fit our choreography,
Right.
but sometimes the location will give us more inspiration again as well.